Good morning. Today is Friday, December 11th, 2020. Happy Chanukah. This afternoon, we have the classic contrast when we light the Chanukah menorah and the Shabbos candles. On the surface, these are two similar mitzvos, lighting lights. And the difference between them is the best way to explore the underlying meaning of both of them. And that is the pedagogic manner that our rabbis use to present the subject of Chanukah in the Gemara and the Talmud. In Masechta Shabbos, the tractate of Shabbos, which deals with Shabbos, chapter 2, second chapter, starts with the words Bame Malikin, famous because we recite that section of the Mishnah every Friday night in Shul. Bame Malikin. What are we supposed to use to light the Shabbos lights? How do we light the Shabbos candles? And all of the rules about the Shabbos candles, where we light them, when we light them, which wicks to use, which oils to use, all of the details that are discussed in that chapter of the Talmud about how to light the Shabbos candles, they all derive from two imperatives. The first imperative is that we want to benefit from the light of the Shabbos candles on Shabbos. We want the Shabbos candles to illuminate and lighten our home. At the same time, on Shabbos, we are not permitted, because of the restrictions of Shabbos, we're not permitted to touch those candles. We're not permitted to adjust the lights. We're not permitted to relight them. And so all of the details of Shabbos candles derive from those two imperatives. Now, from that discussion, the Talmud proceeds to discuss the contrast between the Shabbos candles, which it's been discussing, and the Chanukah menorah. Because the Chanukah menorah is different. We may not derive benefit from the light of the Chanukah menorah, and that's what we say every night when we light the menorah. We say the paragraph Haneros Halalu. Haneros Halalu Kodesh Heim. The lights that we have lit for Chanukah, they are sanctified. Ve'ein lana reshus liyishtamesh bahem. We do not have permission to make personal use or benefit of the light of the menorah. Elo lirosam bilvad. We're only allowed to look at them. The lights of the menorah are purely, exclusively to publicize the miracle of Chanukah, the victory of the Chashmonaim, Yehuda Maccabee and his family, over the Yevanim, the Assyrian Greeks, and the assimilated Jews who followed that path. And on the weeknights of Chanukah, we are allowed to adjust the lights of the menorah after they are lit. If necessary, we're allowed to relight them. Again, only during the weeknights of Chanukah, not tonight because it's Shabbos. So all of the details of the Chanukah menorah, where to put it, when to light the lights, how we go about lighting the Chanukah menorah, which oils we may use, which wicks we may use, how many lights we light each night, all of those details come from these imperatives concerning Chanukah. And the contrast between the two is based on the underlying reason for each mitzvah, which is very different. On Chanukah, the mitzvah of lighting the menorah is part of the mitzvah of Pirsumei Nisa, to publicize the miracle. So that determines the imperatives, and that determines all of the details about how it's done. On Shabbos, the reason for lighting Shabbos candles just before Shabbos starts is to enhance the mitzvah of Shalom Bayis, of harmony within the home. so that you don't eat in the dark. Now, by the way, I just want to explain this because it's often not clear. For us today, the mitzvah of Shabbos candles is fulfilled in a formal manner with a bracha in a specific manner by lighting the Shabbos candles, whatever number we light. Some people light one, some people two, some people for each, the number of each person in a family, whichever number you light, and we make a bracha with that lighting. But that's only the formal expression of the mitzvah. The actual mitzvah itself is much broader than that individual candelabrum that we light for Shabbos, because the complete mitzvah is also fulfilled by, for us, all of the electric lights that we leave on to illuminate our home on Shabbos, to illuminate the parts of our home that we'll be using on Shabbos. So when we leave the light on in our living room, when we leave the light on in our bathroom, when we leave, if we have one light on in our kitchen, let's say, if we leave a light on in the closet, when we leave the lights on in the places that we are going to be living on Shabbos, that is part of the mitzvah, because the mitzvah is to illuminate our home for Shabbos so that we're not walking in the dark, so we're not eating in the dark, so we're not doing other things in the dark that need light, because that's unpleasant. So we enhance the conviviality and the shalom bayis of our home by having illumination. So for most of the house, let's say we have electric lights, let's say we have the living room on, living room light on. So that is the fulfillment of the mitzvah. But we have a formal mitzvah where we specifically light these Shabbos candles in honor of Shabbos, and we make a bracha for those specific candles. Okay. But the idea, of course, is not to spend Shabbos in the dark. So there's a difference between the underlying reason for the two mitzvos, which leads to all of the differences in the details of how and when and how many and where, etc. What if there's a conflict between the two mitzvos? Which one takes precedence? For example, let's say for some reason a person is not able on this afternoon to light both the Chanukah menorah and the Shabbos candles. Let's say a person for some reason only has enough candles for one mitzvah or the other. Let's say a person cannot afford the expense of both of the mitzvos. If you have to choose between the Chanukah menorah and the Shabbos candles, which takes precedence? So the Rambam says, Maimonides, the Rambam says, Shabbos candles come first. Because shalom bayis, harmony within our home, is a higher Jewish priority than Pirsumei Nisa, than publicizing the miracle. So listen to how beautifully Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, of blessed memory, expresses this priority. He says that Hanukkah commemorates one of the greatest military victories in all of Jewish history. As we say in our prayer, Rabim biad ma'atim, the few were able to triumph over the many. A magnificent military victory, a miracle, the miracle of Hanukkah. But that military victory takes second place to what happens in our home. Why did Judaism, Rabbi Sachs writes, alone among the civilizations of the ancient world survive? Because it valued the home more than the battlefield, marriage more than military grandeur, and children more than generals. In Judaism, the light of peace takes precedence over the light of war. And that is a message to consider this afternoon as we light both the Chanukah menorah and the Shabbos candles. May your Chanukah be enlightened, and may your Shabbos be peaceful. I wish you a great day, a happy Chanukah, a wonderful Shabbos, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon in person.